Hi everyone! Today I wanted to do a video that I've been thinking about for a while. And so I love history, and there have been several history retellings that I've read and that I've really enjoyed and that I want to talk about. So I have four, and so these history retellings are take place during pieces of history that I really enjoy and that I've read a lot about. So when I read them, I was pretty excited to read them. So the first one is a book that I've talked about a couple times here, is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. So Lady Jane Grey is this very obscure character from history. She was Queen of England for only 9 days, and she got her head chopped off. But this is a book that kind of changes that story and kind of retells that little period of Tudor history. I'd read a lot about Jane Grey, and this was such a fun read because it kind of brings like fantasy, history, and all that sort of stuff. If you like Tudor times, if you like funny books, you'll definitely enjoy this one. I think I definitely gave this like a 5 out of 5 stars. So My Lady Jane. Talking about Lady Jane Grey. So I read a lot about Tudor times, and another kind of historical retelling book of the Tudor times is The Dead Queen's Club by Hannah Chapin. So My Lady Jane takes place actually during Tudor times and then just has like fantasy. But this is a retelling of The Six Wives of Henry VIII, but set during nowadays and in high school. And if there's any place where all that drama would be a good place to put, is in high school. So this book is told through the perspective of the Anne of Cleves character, and just, her seeing the progression of all of Henry VIII's wives. If you guys remember the part of history, so Anne of Cleves is the only one of Henry VIII's wives to survive her marriage and actually kind of have a good long life. I really enjoyed the writing in here, and you can tell that the author did a lot of research of Tudor times and of the wives of Henry VIII. And the personalities of the queens, I feel like she really got them. Where Catherine of Aragon is very regal, very queen-like. Catherine Howard is not so much, and kind of flirty and going around. So I really enjoyed this book. I believe I gave this also a 4 or 5 stars out of 5 because I really enjoyed it, and I'm actually listening to it again on audio because I enjoyed it so much. So The Dead Queen's Club, another Tudor times retelling of The Six Wives of Henry VIII, and then this one is Lady Jane Grey. So, moving on from Tudor times is another piece of history that I've kind of read a lot about, and here's a retelling, and it is Romanov by Natty Brands. And this kind of retells the story of Anastasia. And I've read a lot about like the Romanovs and their last days, and there was a lot of research that went into this book. It was kind of interesting. I read this book, and there were some things that I was like, okay, wait, is that true? And then I went and read and researched, and I was like, oh yeah, it's true. The relationships between the sisters and them getting friendly with guards, things like that. So this takes place during the Russian Revolution, and it's kind of a fantasy take on the last days, and kind of brings in the myth of how Anastasia just lived. So I thought it was very enjoyable. A lot of his research went into it. And then I had to get this book because it's such a pretty cover. So, yeah. So, yeah, there's lots of stories surrounding Anastasia, and this kind of just brings a lot in. I think I gave this 3 or 4 stars out of 5 because I did enjoy it. And the last book I want to talk about is Alex and Eliza by Melissa Dela Cruz. And this is a kind of a retelling of Alexander Hamilton and Elizabeth Schuyler, and kind of how they met and all that. And again, I really enjoyed reading about the Founding Fathers, and I've read a lot about it. But I haven't read a lot about Hamilton. And since a lot of people are watching the play, I kind of wanted to find out a little bit more about him. And I'm actually listening to a biography now, but then I read this book, since it's fiction and it was a quick read. And there was a lot of things that I was like, okay, is that true? And then again, I went to do research, and I was like, oh yeah, that is true. It is true. For example, Elizabeth Schuyler was helped her aunt inoculate the American Army during the American Revolution for smallpox, and I didn't know she did that. I was like, oh, I didn't know she helped inoculate the soldiers, and how she met Alexander Hamilton a couple years before their actual more formal meeting. So that was kind of interesting. So this book kind of made me want to learn more just about the Founding Fathers and all that. This book was well written. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars out of 5. So those are some historical retellings that I enjoyed. What are some historical retellings that you have read, if you've read any? Because I kind of want to read more historical retellings, but I can't find any, and can't can narrow it down, like, oh, this one. So yeah, so if you know of any, let me know in the comments below. I think there was one I saw somewhere about a retelling of Lizzie Borden, so I thought that was interesting. Anyway, hope you liked this quick video. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks, bye.